Good morning, everybody. Today is Saturday, May 3rd. No, it's not. Today's 2nd, right? Good morning, everybody. Today is Saturday, May 2nd, and it is an absolutely beautiful day. I've got several projects that I need to get done today. But before we do anything, let's take a little tour, shall we? Take a look at the grass. It is looking pretty darn fabulous. If you see, I have worked pretty hard. By the way, my daughter is graduating, so that's pretty cool, from high school. Anyway, back to the lawn. So as you can see, the grass is looking really, really good. It's green. It's actually really tight. You can actually see how nice and tight all of that grass is. So I've got a couple problem areas, which we'll talk about. Namely here, a few dry spots, a few places where I sprayed in the early spring for weeds, and then I pulled a bunch of POA in my last video, and that was this whole area here. There's actually a really dry spot right there, which I'm gonna deal with soon. But what I really wanna show you guys is how this fescue is looking on the side. I've got a few questions about it, and it looks pretty darn amazing. It is nice and thick. I mean, look at that. It is like in really good shape considering how new the lawn is. Now, I do have a line right there that I'm gonna have to deal with. That line is from my tires. It is a pretty steep hill, and I think what's happening is it's pushing the dirt to the side, so I'm gonna have to move where I mow down a little bit. Plants here didn't do so well when it froze up a couple weeks ago, but most of them are looking pretty good. We'll replace it. These plants are temporary anyway. So let's keep moving. Bottom of the hill, I know I had a plan for it, and I said that I wasn't gonna put any more sand down on it, and I'm gonna go ahead and let you know that I lied. I think we're gonna put more sand on, and I'll explain that in a second. But the side of the hill, the back hill, which is actually a nice little steep, you can see that angle. When you get down here, you see what that angle looks like, and it's steep. But I'm gonna go ahead and let you know that this hill is looking the best it's looked in the 3 years that I've owned this house. It's had the best start, and I mean, I'm pretty proud of it. Plants on the side of the house, sorry about the wind, but the plants on the side of the house look pretty good. This area here, which I dug out for my pop-up, is struggling, but I'm starting to see some life there, so I'm not too terribly worried about it. So let me explain the bottom of the hill, why I need to put more sand. I filled in this area, making it flat, and this is all a bunch of particles from the compost that I put down. The problem with it is when we look at it, there's a lot of big chunks like this that are just not breaking up, and it's really dry, and when I run over it with my mower, it's making a dust cloud. So by putting down sand, I'm gonna weigh this down a little bit more, and it'll be easier for me to level it out. The compost will still be in there to break down and make for good organic material and for nitrogen, but the sand will help hold it down and settle it and keep it level. So that's gonna be a project that I may do this afternoon, but we'll see. So this side project lawn is a little concerning to me, and I think it's because it's gonna start getting hot, and I may have to put down more water. Right now, it's looking really good. It's got a lot of different colors. It's got a lot of different things going on, but I think it's gonna be all right. And I'm trying not to stress about it, but we're just gonna have to see how it plays out. I'm also gonna redo my neighbor's yard. He already gave me permission to do that, at least on the side here, so that it matches a little bit better. Coming up towards the front again, this is looking good. I know that looks really dry right there, and it is. It's just where I trample it whenever I'm moving stuff to the back on a wheelbarrow, but it's actually coming back in, so I'm not terribly worried about it. And then this area looks pretty darn fabulous as well. The grass is nice and tight, it's fairly level. The whole yard will get a full level job in a few weeks or months. I'm just waiting for it to warm up really nicely so I can aerate, pull a bunch of cores, and then I'm going to put down 5 to 7 yards of sand down. So stay tuned for that. And that was a speeder. Didn't want to put her on camera and shame her, but she was speeding. That is my yard. Pretty proud of it right now. I think it is doing much better than I anticipated this time of the year. But when you look at other yards and you compare them, I think I'm doing a pretty good job myself. So, first project. Let's get to it. All right, folks. It's the last of the Bio-Stimulant Pack products that I'm going to be putting out on my lawn. So if you remember, when I first started using these products, I said I had this wonderful plan. And that plan was to put down one of these products every week and just rotate through that. Well, in the words of the famous Mike Tyson, every plan, actually, let me do it justice. In the words of the famous Mike Tyson, everybody had the plan until somebody gets punched in the face. So remember that. All plans are subject to change as we go forward. So in my case, I got busy, I did other things, I got distracted with other projects, and I didn't do it. So the good news is that no matter what your plan is, you can always adjust and just keep moving. So that's what I'm doing today. So today, the last one I'm doing is the microgreens. I'm gonna change things up a little bit. I've been putting it in a pump sprayer, and this time I'm gonna use my chameleon. Now I'm gonna explain this really, really quick, and I'm gonna stand up because it'll just be easier that way. So the chameleon is a pretty simple product. It's a hose and sprayer, hook connects to the hose. I actually like this product because it actually has a quick connect release here. The other thing I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a thing on, a couple weeks ago, I got annoyed with putting water into my pump sprayer. And the reason why I got annoyed was because the nozzle was just too strong. Well, I went out and I got this little thing on all my hoses, and it's literally just a little fitting. It's a ball joint. I don't have to keep going back to the wall to shut things off. So I can basically control it here, put things on, and then open it up. So the quick connect actually quick connects right onto here, pull it back, it snaps on, no problem. So I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I'm going to do the microgreens through the hose and sprayer. A couple of benefits to this is, number one, you have to water these products in. This does it automatically. The other thing to keep in mind is it's actually got its own measuring. You can't see it because of the sun, I'm sure, but there's ounces on this side, milliliters on this side. I'm going to do, because I know the measurements of my lawn, again, importance of going out and measuring your lawn. I know that my lawn is about 5,500 square feet. I'm trying to put down about 3 ounces per 1,000 square feet of product every week that I do these products. And I know that for my lawn, 1,000 square feet is basically the side of my yard next to my driveway to the back, and just a little strip that's in the front by the street. So that's what I'm gonna put down for my first 1,000. My second 1,000 is the very front by my sidewalk, and then the other side, and then the back is 3,000 square feet. The way these things work is you put in a dial. There's a dial here that you can adjust, and whenever you pick the number, so like for this one, I've got it at 2 ounces. What that means is that for every gallon of water that runs through this, it's going to pull 2 ounces out of the container. And what you can do faster, obviously, but I don't want to be running through my yard as I'm trying to put this stuff down. So I have it set to about 2 ounces. I'm going to do the first 3 ounces, which means that I am going to make sure that, and also I'm going to add water to this so that I have a little bit more room to grow with this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 3 ounces of product in here. I'm going to fill it up to about 16 ounces, and I'm just going to do the side and the very front strip and see how long it takes me to do. If I were to fill this thing up all the way, I could be here all day, so I don't want to do that. I already tested how long it takes. It takes a few minutes. I could probably get through it. I just don't want to run through it. So for this first one, I'm just going to do the 3 ounces, and then I'm going to fill it up to about 16 ounces and see how long it takes for me to spread that out all over my yard. So let's get to it. Take off the top. PPE, the only reason why this is important to me is because of this stuff is black and it does stain your skin. I'm also wearing a black shirt that my wife probably is going to be annoyed at me for putting on because it's a nice black shirt. But I know that if I get the product on me and it stains it, I'm not going to ruin a shirt necessarily. So, and it's getting hot today. It's supposed to be like 83 degrees today, so I'm trying to get this done before it gets too terribly hot. So with all the products, make sure you shake it really well. And I'm doing this on the back of my truck because this truck is 15 years old. It's got 208,000 miles on it. And if I get stuff on it, I'm not going to cry. So ounces, I'm going to fill it up to right there. I'm going to do about 3. Get that out of the way. I'm going to take this quick connect off so that I can fill this up. And like I said, the beauty of this little hose end is that I can control how much water I'm putting in there. And I'm going to fill it up to about 16 ounces. There we go. That's 16. We'll put this back on for the quick connect. Be there. Put this top back on. We're going to leave it at 2 ounces per gallon. The hose is connected, and now all we have to do is pull the trigger, which we will do as soon as I move the cameras around. Two things to keep in mind. Still have about 8 ounces left, so I've used about 3/4 of this. And I noticed that I meant to do 2 ounces per gallon on here, and I did 1.5. So that's probably why I still have some product left. The pace would be perfect if I had 2 ounces. And then the other thing, if you notice, I changed my shoes. And the reason why I did that was because this stuff will stain your shoes, and those other shoes were actually pretty good, and I want to keep them. Make sure you do that. So next batch, I'm gonna finish off this over here on the side. I'm gonna go back through where I just went, and then we will do 6 ounces this time, and that's gonna be, and I'm actually gonna fill it up to the full 32 ounces with 6 ounces of product, and that's gonna cover this front area, the whole side, and 1/3 of my backyard. That's the plan. That's where we're gonna go, so follow along. Last 6 ounces. A trick I learned by watching the Lawn Whisperers channel is when you're messing with this stuff so that you don't stain the concrete, the best thing you can do is wet the concrete first. Because that way, if you do get anything on here, it gets diluted and you don't have to worry about it staining your concrete. So just wet it down a little bit and then you can do your mix. So this is the last 6 ounces and for the last 2/3 of my yard, and then I'm done. That was a lot more enjoyable than doing the pump sprayer. So I think I'm going to do that from now on, unless there's just a good reason for me not to. If there is, feel free to comment below and tell me. A couple lessons learned. Number one, I was getting a lot of water coming out from the hose nozzle. What I figured out after the fact, unfortunately, when it was leaking all over the place, was that this piece right here was really, really loose. And that's why I was getting so much water all over the place from the hose. So the next time that I use it, in fact I'm gonna do it right now, is make sure that this piece is nice and tight. And you wanna be careful because this is plastic and these teeth are gonna chew it up. So don't go too crazy, but that way it's nice and tight. I should have a good tight fit there, and the next time I use it, hopefully it's not going to leak as much, if at all. So yeah, so that's something you got to keep in mind. Make sure that all of your fittings are tight, and also check your washers. to make sure you're not leaking. But didn't really affect that much of anything because it wasn't coming back, so it wasn't like a back pressure type of issue. So it worked just fine. But yeah, I think I'm going to be using the hose and sprayer from now on for these products. And then I don't have an ortho. I use that Chameleon. It works fine for me, but maybe one of these days I'll get an ortho and just compare the two. Lots of comparison videos out there that you can look at. Jimmy Lewis has one. There's a bunch of different ones. So if you're ever curious as to what the difference is between the two of them, just do a search on YouTube and you'll find lots and lots of people comparing the two products. In the end, as long as you know how that dial works and you understand that it's whatever the dial says, if it's 1 or 1.5, 2, it means it's basically dropping an ounce per gallon of water being pumped through the hose. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, on to the next project.